Hi, baby boomer fans. We are Jackie and Janine, the Pfeiffer sisters, and love to talk about the 1950s, inviting you to reminisce with us as we explore experiences of that decade. Grab your favorite malt or Green River. Make sure you are wide awake and get ready to be inspired about the 1950s. Welcome to the 1950s Fun Chat. Here we are, friends and neighbors, back again to share a little more history about the 1950s with you from a personal standpoint. And today is another wonderful guest.
Hello, viewers. Please do take a look at the bottom of the screen where you will see a very important website. Please go to www.whilethewindmillwatch.com. There you will find all sorts of information about the authors of the book, which happens to be up in the right-hand corner, where you can purchase the book, where the authors might be book signing, and also about the previous 206 fun chats. So there are many days of viewing should you care to participate. So the book, While the Windmill Watched, A Slice of Rural America in the 1950s, sort of kicked off the 1950s fun chat. This is a platform for others to tell about their 1950s experiences. But as with many of us, our years previous to that had a lot of influences on us in the 50s. So we're going to delve into that today. The topic of this chat could be entitled The Virtue of Perseverance Through the Generations of the Tobin Family. Now, Kelly Tobin came into this world during the Dirty 30s. Age 18 was one of the turning points in his life, during which he graduated from high school in 1950, and his father passed away. His home farm in northwest Missouri became his responsibility. However, in 1953, he was drafted, and subsequently he served in the Army Combat Engineers, being stationed in Germany for 2 years. Well, Kelly and his wife, Irene, were married in 1955 and began farming together near New Market in southwest Iowa. The couple met through a 4-H Awards conservation program. Both continue to be active conservationists through their farming career. They have 4 sons. Now, Irene used her home economics education degree by teaching for 33 years. All 4 sons earned degrees from Iowa State University. After their last son graduated, Kelly became a student in 1984 at the age of 52 at ISU, where he earned a degree in agricultural business. That's perseverance and bravery in my book. While in college, he went to weekend classes for real estate and appraisal licensing, and later managed 20 farms as an independent contractor for the Heinz Farm Management, a company in Nevada, Iowa. So welcome, Kelly, to this 1950s fun chat.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi there.
Hey, good. You're coming through loud and clear.
This platform concentrates on the 1950s. However, the years before that time were influential. Your grandfather, Kelly, came from Ireland at age 14. So please give us a short synopsis of how his life influenced your life.
Well, when I was in grade school, we had a half a mile of dirt roads, and we walked to school. It was a mile and a half, and he came from Maryville, Missouri, to be with us for a day or two. And sometimes when it would rain, he would take us to school, and he would have to put chains on, and you would have ruts then. So whenever we went to school that morning, he went off into the ditch, and we had to walk them to school, and he went back and got horses and pulled out the car. That afternoon when he came after us, I don't know whether you've ever heard of splitting the track or not, but that's whenever it dries up in the afternoon and you don't have to get down in the track where the ruts were. So anyway, when we came by that place, he said, "Look at there. Some poor fool must have went in the ditch there." Well, it was him. But anyway, he died in 1941 when I was 10 years old, but I really missed him. He was quite the guy. He gave his sons all a farm, and he really was a great statesman and innovator. So we really liked him.
Okay. Tell us about, speaking of innovation, tell us about your innovative father.
Well, my father was, when he was finished high school, he had rheumatoid arthritis, so he couldn't do a lot of things. He couldn't do a lot of heavy work. He did light things, but he was really an innovator, and I loved that about him. And he built a new house for his wife in 1927, and we had inside plumbing. We had a what is it called? A windmill, Sandpoint windmill that pumped water up to the hill into a concrete encounter. And that water went by gravity to feed our cattle, and then by gravity to feed our hogs, and by gravity to feed our chickens. He was the first one to have a Quonset hen house with 1,000 hens.
Whoa.
And he had where they sat on the roost, you could raise that up and then clean the manure out, and that was our job. And we had a carrier that carried it out to the manure spreader, and we spread the manure on the land then.
Ah.
Anyway,
That was pretty innovative.
And then we had a pine tree that was dead that he put up a wind charger, and we had batteries in the basement, and we had to put water in that every day. And then he had a garage for the car, and he also had a 1,500 egg incubator. And so we would turn that 3 times a day. Oh. And then he had a cave where it was 10 by 12, where we stored a lot of the food in jars and fruits and vegetables. So I just admire him for all the things he did, but he couldn't do labor-wise. He did head-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, I'm going back to those chickens and the housing for the 1,000 head of chickens. Mm-hmm. How interesting and innovative that was. Jackie and I had many chicken house cleaning experiences, but certainly not as innovative as what yours.
As fancy as that.
We would clean the chicken house every Saturday. And how often did you clean yours?
Every 3 days.
All right. That was handy. And then when you say we would have to do that, is that you and your siblings, or who would do that?
Yes, I had 5 brothers, but I was the third one. And whenever my mother died when I was 6.5 years old, my dad, there were 7 of us, and our father kept us together, but everybody wanted to adopt somebody. Nobody wanted number 3, I thought.
Oh. But
anyway, we made it, and we did all the chores twice a day before we went to school and everything. And
Sure.
Kept us
so
busy.
Were those brothers adopted, or they just others wanted to adopt them?
Other people wanted to adopt them. No.
But the family was stuck together.
Yes. We lost a brother when he was 2 years old, and then we lost my mother, and the baby died on Saturday night, and she died on Sunday night. We had scarlet fever.
Oh, wow.
And the doctor, it was on a Sunday afternoon at 4:00, and we were across the road at the corn crib there, shelling corn. My brother, who was 7 years old then, and I was 6, and they came over and told us that our mother died, the doctor and the priest, and we couldn't believe it, but it happened.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we had people come in and take care of things, and a lot of times they didn't do a very good job, and it really was wonderful whenever my dad married my mother's sister 3 years later. And but my sister was only 1.5 years old when my mother died, and my aunt took care of her. And then we had food and clothes again after she came.
Yes. How did you feel about the relationship of having a new mom and someone you knew?
Well, we loved her. We always thought a lot of her, and she took good care of us. Every Sunday we would go down after she died. We would go down, and there was 2, sometimes 3 kids stayed with my aunt, but my dad would take us down. It was an hour drive, and we would come back, and then we'd have dinner that night with the Tobin family. So it was a busy time, but we enjoyed it.
Yes.
Sounds as if there was probably a lot of love in that family.
Yes, there was. We had two brothers that were priests, and we made it to church whether it rained or not. We walked if we couldn't get the car there.
What a great practice for your family, for any family to do.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're now in the 30s and the 40s, and so we come to World War II. Now, how did that affect you personally, as well as how did it affect your family?
Well, we took papers and magazines, and we always were kept up on everything. And it was a Sunday afternoon at 4:00, and my dad came out, and we were shoring. We had turkeys and sheep then, and we were taking care of them. And he came out and said, Pearl Harbor's attacked the United States, and I imagine you boys will end up in the war if it lasts very long. So that's how we knew about it.
And how?
Did some of your brothers go? Were they drafted?
Well, I was drafted, and my brother, who ended up with a law degree in Washington, D.C., he was drafted, and he didn't get to go overseas like he wanted to, but he took his law degree at K-State, and then he also took extra degrees in service in Texas.
Did that protect him from going into the service or being drafted?
Did what protect him?
His profession?
No.
Oh.
No, he was in the military police in the service for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my older brother he got married and had a child, so he was exempt. And I was exempt for 6 months to get the crop out. I didn't get to go with the rest of my friends.
What did you do in the war then? What was your responsibility, please?
Well, I was a dispatcher in engineers, and then I worked my way up to bulldozer operator, and over in Germany, and we took down buildings that were bombed out, and we built swimming pools for them. We did a lot of things, and my mentor that I learned dozer work from, we were working in Castle, and we would take off just a foot strip at a time on the hill because we knew there were bombs probably in there. Anyway, we took turns service, and he came up and took my place, and I got down to the bottom of the hill, and I heard an explosion, and it but anyway, I was to go home with the body, and he had 8 kids, and I said, why did you go to service? He said, I just wanted to help.
Oh, goodness.
Anyway, the boys said, what happened to our dad? How come he died and you didn't? I said, well, good Lord was with me, and he was with him too, but it was his turn. It wasn't mine. But anyway, I gave her the flag, but the problem was they wouldn't let me call home while I was in Philadelphia with the body.
Well, what an experience. It still touches hearts today. So much of that.
Yeah.
So then going on after the war, then what happened? How did you meet your wife?
Well, we met we were in 4-H together, and she was at the east end of the county, and I was at the west end of the county, and we never crossed paths.
Yes.
But anyway, we both won conservation awards to the Lake of the Ozarks for a week. And my dad took me out to the hotel to get in the car. And that's the only time Irene saw my dad, because he passed away the next year. And anyway, we were riding down there, and there was 4 of us in the car besides the driver, and 3 in the back seat. And I was in the middle of Eileen Smith and Irene Smits. Anyway, Eileen Smith was the active one, and Irene Smith was the inactive one. Anyway, she was all over me going down there, and I said I couldn't take that for 7 hours. Anyway, on the way back, I said to the driver, could I sit on the right-hand side? He said, and put Irene in the middle. And well, yes, we can do that. So I survived.
Hey.
That's how we met. And then after we got back from that way, she went to college then, and I went to service. But before I went to service, I gave her diamonds. So,
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, her aunt said, you'll never last. And I said, yes, you will.
Mm-hmm.
That was
And
last
okay, so that is one way. That's one way that 4-H influenced you. Can you tell us any other ways that 4-H may have influenced your family?
Well, I was in 4-H for 9 years, and Irene was also. And I was a leader for 20 years, and she was a leader for between 10 and 12. And anyway, we had 4 sons that were international foreign youth exchange students. Do you know what that is?
Yes, we do.
And they could go overseas. Anyway, Jim, the oldest, there was 12 Americans named to go overseas, and 12 Europeans were to come here. And so Jim signed up and was assigned that, and they sent him out to Washington, D.C. to study the Russian language for 3 months before he left. And the National Geographic came and said, we can't go to where you're going. Is anybody a photographer? And pretty soon Jim said, yes, I have a wedding business. So they wanted him, and he would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go in and talk to them and say how to take pictures, and they would critique it that afternoon then. So anyway, there was a international harvester salesman that could go there, and he bought the pictures home that Jim took.
Oh.
And whenever National Geographic got those pictures, they said, oh dear, that's a yellow page, yellow border. So all of the National Geographics have a yellow border around it, and his pictures is in July of 79.
Oh, how special.
He has about 40 pictures inside, and he has the front page.
Yes.
Cool.
And anyway, Terry went to London, and Kevin went to India, and Bernie went to Norway. But anyway, while those 12 went over with Jim, there was 12 came back here, and 2 of the Russians stayed with us for 2 weeks. And they would fight over trying to drive the pickup. I was planting corn. And anyway, and one of them would always go outside and smoke. And Irene says, well, we don't allow it inside. Why do you go outside? Oh, my wife made me. So, but anyway, we went, they wanted to go fishing, and we took them over to a lake right beside us. And it was, we didn't have permits. But anyway, the county showed up, and he said, where are your permits? And I said, well, we don't have them. I said, they are from the Soviet Union, and we just brought them over here because they wanted to fish. Well, he had a gun on, and they were afraid of that. And anyway, he said, all right, I'll take them over to the county lake, and I'll show them how to fish. And they went to the county lake that night, and guess who didn't catch any fish? The guy with the gun.
Right.
So was he concerned at all about going with these gentlemen from Russia over to fish, do you think?
Well, I went with them, so they didn't have any problems there.
Sure. Yes. Did it seem like when each of your sons was selected as an IFI to a different country, in your mind, did you feel that the country was matched to the personality of each of your sons?
Well, yes, in a sort of a way. Jim was really interested in farming, and Terry was interested in political science, and he was with the government there. And Kevin was interested in international politics, and he went to India, and Bernie was in Norway, and he was interested in that country. He'd studied a lot in school.
Mm-hmm. Did in all of these iffy situations, did any of them learn farming methods in each particular country, or were they not then matched with host families who would have that opportunity?
They were matched, and they did accept a few of their ideas, but they taught them a lot while they were there too. So.
Yeah.
So for our viewers, IFE is International Foreign Youth Exchange. And the 4-Hers were sent from our country to other countries. Were these the people who came from, the students who came from other countries, were they in 4-H, or was it some other organization that was supported by the country?
It was other organizations that were supported by the country because they didn't know what 4-H was.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
So then that is 4-H, and that is the influence. And anything else you might want to say about your family before we move on to a special topic called We're Raising Sons, a book?
Well, they were all good to us, and we really enjoyed them, and they were no trouble, and we kept them busy choring in the morning and the evenings, and they were active in the sports and 4-H and FFA. And I have to tell the story about when 1984, whenever that was when the farm crisis happened, and we were having trouble. But when we bought the farm, every year I spent money building terraces and tile and waterways, and we paid $49 an hour for those then. And last year I paid $200 an hour but there were better bulldozers than they were. But anyway, we were having trouble with finances, as everybody was.
Yeah.
And we had 2 of the production credit officials come out in their suits at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we were eating breakfast, and they told us we need to talk about finances. And I said, yes, I figured you probably did. Well, they said, you need to sell that 120 acres over on the bottom there. And I said, no, we can't do that. That's our best producing land. And they said, well, you need to declare bankruptcy. I said, no, we're not going to do that either. We're going to work out of it. And I said, you just will get up and leave because we will change. And he said, well, I just want to remind you that to keep those boys home and make them rake hay instead of going to all those 4-H and FFA things.
Oh,
Wow.
And I said, listen, we're raising sons, corn and soybeans, and you're not going to tell us how to raise sons.
Yeah.
so there's one thing I want you to tell about, and that is in the 50s when all of them were infected by something, and you as parents could not do a thing about it for a couple of days.
What was that now?
Well, they were infected by something. They were infected with measles, I believe.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Irene was teaching school, and it was in December, and it was a snowstorm coming. So I took her to school, which was about 20 miles away. And when we got down there, they said, school's closed. We couldn't get a hold of you. So we came back home, or tried to come back home. We got all the way within 2 miles of home, and we were stranded. There was about 50 cars and a bus, big 47 passenger bus, also stranded. And this went into this farmhouse, and she was getting ready to move, and she'd shut off a lot of things. And she said, Kelly, you go out and you get me the coal and wood for the stoves. But anyway, we had a lot of them come in and out, and then they'd go back into the bus, and the high heels and everything in the snow. And it was But anyway, we had a truck there, bread truck there, and so that helped on the food.
Okay.
I had got groceries in town for about the next week, and I had on my 5-buckle overshoes and my coveralls and my hat and everything. But anyway, we called home to see how the boys were, and the babysitter said, "Well, they've all got the measles."
Oh, you first.
Anyway, Jim says, "Dad, come on home now. Can't you come home?" I said, "No, we're stranded here." "Well, why don't you get a ride with the mailman?" I said, "Well, he's here with us."
Yes.
We had a lot of teachers out on the road too.
So who did chores then if the boys all had measles?
Well, we had the neighbor. We called the neighbor.
Oh, good. Yes.
Okay. And so the babysitter took care of the measles infected boys.
Yes.
And how old was this babysitter?
Well, she was 18.
Yeah, certainly.
It was a lesson on life.
Yes. Well, she has a story too.
Mm-hmm. That's right. But Kelly, you talked about we're raising sons here. You have a special book called with that same title, I believe. Let's start talking about that book.
Well, you want to show some pictures or not?
Sure.
Let's see the cover, because I think that tells a great story in itself. Okay, can you raise it up a little bit? Yep, and then take it over to your right a little bit.
Yeah, cover your face.
The other way. Yeah, almost covering your face. Take it over a little more.
Other direction. There.
There, we're almost seeing you. Not quite.
Just cover your. That's a little better. Yeah, cover your face.
So, how did the book come about, Kelly?
Well, it came about. Our second son, Terry, and his wife were at a church auction, and the lady there offered for $300 to help you start a book because she had did the Iowa State Daily book, and so that's how they started, and they spent 18 years getting it all together.
Wow.
And but anyway, the lady would ask us questions, and then she had an assistant that came to the farm, which was 2 hours away from Des Moines, and she would ask us all kinds of different questions. Spent about a half a day there, but we didn't know it that she had a
tape recorder
in her pocket. That's why all these quotes of ours are in the. We didn't know that she was doing that.
She was taking down every word you said then.
Yes.
Yes. And how nice. And then there are many pictures in that book. So were the pictures then on pages and where she had you quoted?
Yes.
Would you like to show us some of those pictures that are mean the most to you, perhaps?
Well, I don't know. The first one I've got here is the.
Oh, that's who's in from the war.
I was in Germany there.
Okay.
Where's the other one?
Oh, there we go. Now.
That's my wife.
Uh-huh.
And this one is my stepmother.
All right. Two very important women in your lives.
Yes.
Like brother.
This is some of the other family.
Huh.
That's all the other group together.
So are those, when would those pictures have been taken? Would some have been in the 50s or 60s, 70s?
Mostly in the 50s and 60s.
Yes, that's kind of the fashion trend was what it appears that they were wearing.
Here's some of our
Hogs, yep. So is that you there with them?
Yes.
Okay, yep.
And
And
your little pony?
Who's with the pony? Tell us about that pony.
That pony belongs to Kevin.
Okay.
And he took it to the fair and won best pictures there for about 4 years.
And there's Irene. Was that a school picture of Irene?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, loaded with, and you are so blessed to have all those pictures saved over the years.
And
And we have 300 pages in the book. This is Jim's Soviet life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Does he still do photography work?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
He took the most of these.
Okay. And what? Tell us about that picture. Oh, no-till plant.
No-till planter.
When did you start no-tilling?
In 1979,
Uh-huh.
I started cover crops 10 years ago.
Yes. And is that you in the cab of that tractor?
Yes.
Well, Kelly, in that book, is there something that might be the most meaningful to you? Oh, there you are. Yeah. You are such an innovator. Still are.
Kind of goes in the family. I think it runs in the family.
Yes.
So Kelly, you mentioned a term. Would you explain this for our audience? What is a cover crop? What does that mean?
In other words, after you combine the corn and the beans, you go in with a planter and plant rye, and those roots go down. They let the water go deeper, and they also conserve the soil, and it builds up the soils all the time. And everybody should use it because it's really important. Your yields will increase, and by using rye, it's got 3-foot size roots, and the next spring you kill that after it gets up there and plant the rows between it, so it's no-till into cover crops.
Are there
do those roots maybe insert nitrogen into the soil or
Yes.
what?
Yes.
Are there other cover crops that can be planted other than rye?
Yes, any wheat or a lot of
Alfalfa.
let's see, there'd be everything in that, wouldn't there?
So and what was this Newfield? Is that when you went to school, Kelly?
Yes.
Tell us. Okay. Thank you for sharing so many pictures. Tell us why and when you wanted to be a college graduate.
When I was in grade school.
Okay. Yep. There's that tractor is probably your good friend, isn't it?
Yes. That
You
other one.
spent a lot of hours in that.
Yeah. So Kelly, I think it was very brave of you at age 52 to enter college. Can you tell us about any enthusiasm or trepidation or what you may have felt after you made the decision to be a student?
Well, it was whenever the farm crisis broke over, and Kevin came home and helped us for 7 years and helped save the farm.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bernie, I was in the last quarter of his school. I was in it, and we had ag law together. And what was the teacher was? Anyway,
Carl?
Dr. Carl, yes.
Yes.
And he said, I've been teaching for 40 years. I've never had a father and son in the same class.
That is real cool. Really cool.
Anyway, he didn't give A's, but we both got B pluses. So
So did you study together?
yes.
Your study buddies. Okay. Tobin's honored with Master Farmer Award. Tell us about what is a Master Farmer Award?
Well, it's an award that started back in 1927, and it's the best operators and the best. They have to be leaders in the community and in their church and in the soil conservation or anything like that. So there's usually 3 or 4 every year for that many years. We were in 99.
And who might nominate you for that?
Well, anybody can nominate anybody. And we had a cousin that nominated us. And when we got there, they said, well, we expected you to be nominated a lot sooner.
You know, tell us, I think you've also had some political experience. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I don't know whether you want to hear all that or not. Anyway, in my wife, Irene, retired in 95. And in 96, when Senator Boswell, who was head of the Senate, state Senate, decided to run for Congress, he decided that I would be a good replacement. So we worked hard, went to 6 counties that we were running in. And the grandkids all had T-shirts on, vote for my grandpa. And anyway, we traveled 6 counties every weekend. And on Thursday before the election, we were ahead. And Friday morning at 6 o'clock on the television, the radios, they told 6 lies about me. And Governor Branstad spent $90,000 buying up all the TV time and radio time in 6 counties, so I couldn't answer. So we didn't make it.
Fortunate. Yes. What was it? When you and your family went to these different events in 6 counties, what were some of those events?
Well, they would be any school events or any farm events over the weekend that happened. And a lot of times we just traveled from one to the other, knocked on a lot of doors, met a lot of good people.
Would there be invitations to these events, or is this something that you could just show up and speak?
No, there were some invitations, but not many. But we would usually show up for.
Were your family members the campaign managers?
Yes, our son Kevin was the manager for.
Okay, yes. And did any of your children or grandchildren have political aspirations?
Yes, they had, but Terry was the one that was a politician, and he worked for Harkin and all of those, and so all of them have participated in a lot of things. And your family is very, very active. It just carries down from your grandparents and parents and the generations and you and sons and the grandchildren. It's amazing. It's quite a story, Kelly. Very remarkable. Yes.
So Kelly, when you're thinking about the 50s, can you tell us 1 or 2 pleasant memories of the 50s?
Well, getting married in 55.
Okay.
You know, it's such a refreshing answer to hear, because when we ask that of folks, that's always the first thing they say. Yeah, it's a good deal.
Well, I enjoyed service, but I think everybody should have a term in it. So and then
why is that?
Because it makes you get to see a lot of history, you get to go a lot of places, and they take care of you, they command you, and it's a good experience.
What you learned in the service, did that carry through in your position as a father in your home?
As a father?
To your 4 boys?
Well, yes, I would say that it did. I can't think of a real special reason right now.
Yes. Well, you and Irene have made a wonderful life together. A wonderful life, and certainly.
Well, I have to give a lot of credit to her, because she knew
well
how
done. Well
raise
done.
boys.
Yes. Yes. Do you think that was very challenging for her to raise those 4 guys?
Yes, but she was a teacher that put up with a lot, and some of them would call her names and everything, and she wouldn't growl back at them, and she just say, "Don't be saying those things in our class."
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, some of them, whenever her 90th birthday, why all of her students answered back that were alive.
Oh,
And they really thought a lot of her, and
sure.
she was very good to them, and they were good to her.
Mm-hmm.
But
Wonderful.
I couldn't have done without it. But anyway, I took off work and went to all their ball games. Everything that happened, and they were very active in 4-H and FFA, and we didn't advertise it. When they did something, they put it in the paper, and that's why these two people, told us to keep the boys home.
Mm.
That's why the book says we're raising sons.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you.
Kelly, this has been an amazing story that you shared with us. We're so grateful that you were our guest. Thank you.
Thank you kindly for doing it.
Mm-hmm. You're
Really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Yes. Jackie,
And
close out.
well, guests of our show, viewers, please do come again next week. Tell your friends, even your relatives, about this 1950s fun chat. They might learn something. Until then, toodaloo. Bye-bye.
Thank you.